I'm starting. Here we go. Hi, Lisa.
Yeah.
So we just spent a few minutes catching up, and I'd just like to continue on that vein because, yeah, let's just be who we are, and I'm introducing you. I'm going to introduce you in the newsletter, and people remember you from 5 years ago. I'm sure a lot of our listeners and have been following your work for a while, and I've also been doing that, and it's been quite a lot happened in the last 5 years, a lot,
Mhm.
and some major life changes for you.
On both sides, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, on both sides. Yeah,
Before we jump in, I just want to let you know
yeah.
I have a little beagle. And she's quietly hovering right now, but she may not be quiet the whole way through. And she's very little, but she's got a big voice. So
Yeah.
I just want to, advise everyone who's listening. We may hear a little beagle eruption every now and again. So,
Yeah. Okay. So
okay.
I have a bigger dog, a golden retriever, who's asleep over here, and he usually doesn't bark or do anything unless, I don't know, somebody knocks on the door, which is not outside the realm of possibility. So
Right.
we're just letting people know that could happen
Yeah.
here as well.
Just
Yeah.
giving you a heads up,
And
folks.
FYI.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of change. Lots and lots of very big change. I have been public about it, but not profusely so. My darling husband and spiritual partner and business partner and best friend, who is integral to the work. I mean, the work exists because it was ours. I may be the face and the voice, but he was as much a part of it as I. He was diagnosed, to our great dismay and surprise, 2.5 years ago with metastatic terminal cancer. And, it was asymptomatic. There was no signs of illness, nothing, So it was a shock. And it was inoperable. We saw a number of people about it. Treatment recommended was palliative only, as far as traditional medicine is concerned. And we did everything we knew to do. And after a lot of research, in a kind of combined treatment plan, and alternative and complementary, and it was just his time. It's a difficult thing to watch your beloved fade. It's a very difficult thing. It's a difficult thing to watch them watch themselves fade. So his passing, his dying, was as difficult as living without him, in many respects. He's been gone since, it's been a little over 2 years. The anniversary of his passing was just a few weeks ago. And it's affected me in ways that are profound and still, largely inarticulate. It's a work. It's a process, and the work has deepened, in part because it's one of the ways I connect with him, and I'm very. How do I say this? The spirit of him and all that he put into it, all that he contributed, all that he named, all that he helped make possible, is alive every time I do the work. So in a way that surprised the hell out of me, I have to say, my work became even more sacred ground and a respite. Losing him is probably it is. It just is. It's the most excruciating thing I've ever known, and still is to some degree. But even in the midst of the terribleness of the pain initially, work was respite and nourishment. It was a place where the pain was not eliminated, but softened and became a place of deep listening for me in my own process and for the folks that I was working with. And honestly, I shortly after he passed away, I thought I was going to be incapable. And the opposite was true.
Really?
The opposite was true. The work has grown, the work has deepened, and my ability to serve has increased and grown deeper. I haven't really explored that very much or talked about it very much because I'm not sure it's finished. So that's part of the inability to articulate it. But what I have been able to watch, in part because of the effect on the space I can hold and the work I can do with clients and what I am able to witness because they give me a window into their experience, is that it's more effective, deeper, and more impactful. And, I don't know this for sure. I don't think anybody ever could, but I have a suspicion that I'm not alone doing the work, and that his hand's in there. So in a way he just couldn't have been before. And that gives me a lot of comfort. And, his contribution's still very much alive. So as far as my living goes, the first year to 18 months, other than the work, which actually nourished me, it gave me an anchor. It was an hour at a time, 90 minutes at a time. It was kind of a nourishing respite. It was sacred ground. It was a place of prayer. My work is my prayer. And when I'm able to inhabit that as fully as I can, what happens is a blessing. The business, the work is a blessing. But beyond that, I was really private. I kind of went into solitude so I could be with the experience I was having as fully as possible. And I just found that otherwise, energetically, I just didn't have energy for much else. And, that probably counts for about 18 months. Recently, I've sold our little cottage home on Lake Huron. Sadly, this year it became clear it wasn't home anymore. And have moved to a really lovely renovated one-bedroom in Toronto where I am starting a new chapter. And I don't know where all this will take me, but I have a feeling I'm, despite the fact that I miss his physical presence in ways I don't have words for, I'm not alone. Yeah. I have a feeling that part of the reason why the work has been affected as it has is because it has made it possible for me to be more deeply with tumult and pain and loss, grief, and things of life that are beyond our control, but must be lived fully, met fully. And, these times we're living in require that more than ever. The ability to stay present, to be here, all here, even when it hurts really, really bad, and you're confused and you feel untethered. How do you find solid ground? Where does that come from? And I've learned that the answer really is what they say it is. It's inside. And a little bit beyond the pain. It's actually through inside and beyond the pain. So I have a feeling that's why the work has become better in the way that it has. But it hasn't been without trial. You know better than most that one of our deepest beliefs and convictions is that everything happens for a reason. And that's a bitch of a thing to live when
Yeah.
the man you love more than life itself is dying or is gone. Knowing that everything that was purposeful was, boy, talk about a crisis of faith. And at the same time, it was a call to dig deeper for the reality and the ground of that. And I'm still convinced. I am still convinced. It's not a mental construct. It's a reality. I don't always like the way it works out, as many of us don't right now as we look at, what's going on in the world around us, here at home or abroad. But, it is trials like that that call us more deeply into the truth of what our life's about, so that it's not just construct, it's in our bones. We're not just thinking it, we're living it. That makes sense.
Absolutely.
And so, I one of the biggest problems for me, other than the whole, everything happens for a reason, oh, you gotta be kidding me, is when, as most of us, I'm assuming most people I've talked to, one of the, I had with him everything I'd ever wanted, more than I'd dreamed of, truly, in the experience of life. I had work I felt deeply satisfied by and fulfilled by and proud of. I had it with him. We had our life together. And when he died, I think, I don't know what to want now. I had it. You want me to want, I had what I wanted. You want me to want something else now? And what I learned from that, even in purposeful work, is that desire is both necessary, because it really is, but it's deeper than we understand. And what this taught me is how to fall deeply enough inside to touch it. And how to reawaken it when it's, gone out, when the fire's gone. And that many of our goals, many of our aims, many of our plans are tethered to an I want. And when something like this happens and breaks that, or interrupts it, disrupts it really profoundly, it's hard to know how to keep going, or what to direct your life to, or how. I've talked to a number of people who have had similar kinds of experiences, great loss particularly, when wanting is gone. It's empty. That finding a way to access desire again takes on a magnitude that is, it's difficult to speak about, and changes you. I can't make plans, I can't set goals in the same way that I used to anymore. In part because I know things are transient. Boy, talk about a lesson in, allowing things to just move and go. And an extraordinary period of really becoming familiar with where desire really comes from for me. And I think possibly for most of us, if not all of us, that it's not about what we want here. And it's not about the more common everyday dreams. It's about something much, much deeper, and that we don't always have easy access to. And sometimes something like this is what cracks it open. That makes sense.
It does, but I'm wondering, where are you at in that? I mean, was it a certain period you said that the work, that you
Mm-hmm.
were able to show up and do the work very soon after, and that you weren't really, you weren't sure if that would happen,
I
right?
wasn't.
Yeah.
I
So
really wasn't.
so the question is, did the desire lead you to starting the work again, or did that come later?
Oh, it came much later. I didn't have, doing the work as he was dying and after he passed, there wasn't a whole lot of desire beyond the very, I would say, moderate appreciation for the fact that it gave me a connection to sacred space, to sacred ground. And so I wouldn't, because it is such a mild form, it was more, oh, thank you. And then to witness the work being good, not just good, but deeper. I was grateful, but I can't tell you that it was desire. Mm-hmm. It was more, I was very grateful that proved to be true, and that it gave me some things I probably wouldn't have had access to otherwise. And I needed them. I found that I needed the work. Not because it took my mind off things, but because it connected me with what I needed to sustain myself. And so I could witness that despite the agony and all that came with it, there was a place that was solid in my life. And that wasn't broken. And so that was a place to kind of build on. It took me a while to get that, though. I mostly was just like, wow, okay, that was unexpected. Desire itself, because the first 6 months, 8 months, honestly, I was in shock. Yeah. It really takes a long time for your mind to get, and he was in my arms when he took his last breath. I mean, I watched him die, but my mind, the idea that he was actually gone, it took a long time to really land. So there's a period of disbelief and shock. And when that started to wear off, that's when this complete and utter absence of desire really made itself known. And, I was, when I wasn't working, when I wasn't connected, I was despairing. How do you go on when you don't want to?